Hello.
How's it going?
It's pretty chill. How are you?
Doing all right, doing all right. Let's just
Nice.
do a quick little connection test. So tell me again. Give me the update. How's practice been going? I know you said you wanted to talk about Snake today, but give me the rundown on how things have been going.
It's been going pretty awesome. I can't even lie. It Decision making is it's a lot simpler now. It's a lot easier to like space things because the thought process of can I get hit for this? Or and it actually explained greed because I would during one of the sets that I played where I played against the Nest player. I went for a down throw dash attack, and then in my brain I was like, hmm, I could go for the down smash here. But then I was sitting there and I was like, that's really greedy. Because it was at like mid%. I really didn't get I wouldn't have gotten anything from it besides like, oh,
Ah,
it
you
was so
caught
cool.
yourself. Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Uh, yeah, it's just things make a lot more sense, and I'm kind of figuring out playing in bracket. It's a lot simpler, and I can stay calmer.
Good. That's good to
Um,
hear.
I I had a set Saturday. I mean, I played in a tournament Saturday, and one of the people I played against, it was a guy named Dip. I've never lost to him, but I get to heavy, and sometimes I can panic if it's like
Mm-hmm.
close. And so it went game 5, and then on game 5, I did a 3 stock, and like it was,
Hey, let's go.
and it like his friends were watching and stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, it was game 5, but it was one of those game 5s."
No, you figured it out game five, yeah.
Yeah, because I just told myself, I was like, okay, I knew what I did wrong in the other sets. Usually it's because I lost first stock against the heavy, so I like pressured myself to approach.
Hmm.
And then when we played, I was just like, all right, you know what he's gonna do. Just wait, don't get hit, and keep it simple.
Good.
And yeah,
Very,
it
very
was done
good.
in 2 minutes.
We love to see that. Good shit, man. That's awesome to hear. I'm happy.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So, let's do a game or two of some
All right,
Snake Wolf and then kind of see what you're doing. And then we'll kind of talk about it from there. All right?
cool, absolutely.
Paul dropped there. I didn't even notice until the end there. We'll do another one before I say anything.
What's up?
Oh, the call dropped there. I had no idea. I didn't even notice it until the end. We'll do one more before we talk about anything. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Good. There you go. Good. Oh. So, tell me a little bit of what you feel like you're struggling with.
You almost did it.
I almost got you.
Say that again.
What do you feel like you're struggling with?
Oh, well, there were a few times that I was getting really impatient.
Mm-hmm.
But the way you play Snake is the version that I kind of like because
Mm-hmm.
they keep to a very horizontal game plan, and the aerial mix-ups are, I guess, yeah, it's mainly due to the scrapping nature of like
Yep.
tilts being so fast, and 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 scrambles just are awful. Um, the juggle situations were a little bit easier just
Mm-hmm.
because also the stages like FD was
Yeah.
kind of like a bad pick. Um, but yeah, you didn't use aerials as much, and it felt easier to be patient because there were moments where I was like, "Fuck, they're gonna bring this game back on me. Uh, can't lose." But then I told myself, it's like, they're playing the long game. They're testing me to
Yep.
see if I can like withstand this.
Yep.
And the kill will come. I was like, they're jumping. Um, so like this up tilt will hit, or a general back air if or up air if they're like lazy. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of guessing with like what you're gonna do after grenade. Like I had to read whether you were gonna roll or shield or dash attack,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like it was just it's just really hard to get a good read on some of their guessing in some situations. I don't know. It just it's I overcomplicate the character
Yep.
a lot, and it's just the amount of options are so daunting because
Yep.
they're available at any time. It's like a Terry player with Go. You have to assume they're gonna just throw out a power geyser as like a vibe check, and
Yeah.
that's the same way with a snake, like throwing out some random like F smash
Mm.
just because. And so it's harder to work around that space because it feels like they take so much area and I can't move as freely.
Mm. Okay, let's create a scenario real quick. So go ahead and hop in the game.
But
Because the way that we simplify this is that we need to get better at like specific game states and like demystifying certain tools, right?
yeah,
And so like right now,
yeah,
the big daunting one, like the one that you're kind of bad at dealing with is grenade.
yes, yep,
Grenade is where you get stuck overthinking. So go ahead and come stand like right there, yeah, right. So if I'm here and I pull a nade, what do you do?
I either I can run and try and grab you,
Nope,
or I
I'm
could
way too
like
far for you to do that.
okay,
That's okay. Try
um,
again.
just sit here.
Yep. Look at him. Because me pulling this nade does not do anything to you. What me
Okay,
pulling this nade does is actually restrict my options. There are quick ways where I can do like the nade into like the pickup, like the Z catch, the instant pickup, right?
right,
But this is all like slowly progressing game state and it changes my agency. if I have this nade in my hand, what really important button can I not do?
No A buttons.
Yep. I can't do any of my jabs, my tilts, my anything. My dash attack is the really big one, right? So that pressure in that space is completely gone, pretty much, of the fear of like an attack, right? So
Right.
the next thing, right, is so if I have this nade in my hand, what can I do,
You can shield, roll, jump, or throw it.
right? And like all that is kind of the same thing. The only difference is when this is in my hand like this, I can also grab. That's the
Yeah.
only difference. So what we have to be mindful of is what can the snake do, and be aware of the actual agency he has in the scenarios, because when that happens, if I pull this nade, you could move forward and apply pressure and then go, okay, snake, what do you do now that I've like gotten closer and I'm now within my burst range, right? Because the whole thing here is like you're playing around my dash attack, right? And so
Right.
once I pull that nade, that dash attack is gone. It's not we skip and jump right on top of the snake, because that's the trap. That's what I want you to do, because snake is a fake zoner. I really hate the word zoner, but it's like a really good way to put it, where what his tools are distractions. They are strictly there to mess with the flow of your game. And the whole thing that nade does is it changes the rules of like the way the game is played. I forget, have we like talked about that concept, like the rules?
Yes.
Right? And so like there are certain characters that like there are tools that are always present and we have to play around them. And for Snake, it's nade. It completely changes the way we navigate and exist and everything like that. But the thing that makes it dumb is any character with nade would be a little bit better, but it's really good on Snake because he's got this and this and this and this and this, and it's grabbing
Yeah.
big, and it's like all these things. It's the concoction of it all. That it's like it's a trap to make you throw yourself at him, and then he has insanely good boxing tools. And you diagnose this issue yourself in being like the scrambles suck when you're right on top of him. So if it sucks to be too far, and if it sucks to be right on top of him, where's the place we need to get more comfortable being?
The mid range.
Right? That like just at the edge, like just within my dash attack. And like this is the thing, is like because you get so overwhelmed by nade, I end up dash attacking you more. That's the trap. And like that's like layer 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what that means is we need to get better at playing layer 1. So when we're in these scenarios and I'm pulling the nade, I want you to think about like you know, if we're fighting a character like Samus and they're charging charge shot, what do we not do?
Don't jump
Don't jump.
or jump into them. I
Yep, don't
guess.
jump into them, don't dash into them, like don't just like rush that mid-range, right? Because if we rush it,
Yeah.
you get smacked. And it's the same
Right.
thing with this. This is kind of like a charge shot in a way, where it's like I pull the nade. The issue is I can do all this and da 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 and like be all mixing around, and there's lots of little tricky stuff. Like you've played with Javi, and he does like the fake nade, and then like he'll like fake you out, and it's like all this stuff. It's all meant to fuck with your mental stack. That's the whole idea.
Right.
And so like if we compare like game 1 we played, I was like, I'm gonna put as many nades out as possible and try to overload you, and then you started getting used to the tempo that I did that, right? So then what did I
Right.
change?
You started dash attacking more.
But what in that rotation did I change?
Oh, the timings of you plucking grenade, like you'll pluck one.
And then wait,
Yeah.
right? And that was a big shift for you because you were like, oh shoot. And that, funny enough, is instead of me doing more to overload your mental stack, me doing less is what overloaded your mental stack, because it made you over worry about what I can do. And like this is where the demystifying is really important, because even like let's say Snake is landing, right? So I'm gonna double jump and I'm coming down. Why is this bad?
Because there's so many more ways for you to mix around. I could, if I try to swing at you, I can hit the grenade, or you could B reverse it.
But like think even simpler. What can I not do when I pull this?
Oh, swing.
That's one. What else can't I do? Do you not know?
I'm trying to think. I was like air dodge, but you would just
I
drop the
No,
nade at
you
that
can't
point.
drop the nade. I have to throw the nade. And
Oh,
that is bad. I can't air dodge. So watch this. Ready? Dump,
yeah,
dump. Here we go. I'm gonna mash shield. Nope. See?
interesting.
So, like, what'll happen is they'll do stuff like this and immediately land with while holding and buffering the shield. But I can't air dodge during that whole time. So if I end up in a juggle scenario and I pull a nade, that means you get to hit me for free. You have to be smart about it because I have a nade in my hand, and there are ways to navigate that. Or sometimes it's like, oh, I can just back air and trade with you because you most likely die here, right? Like, there
Right.
are scenarios like that. And, like, this is the thing that I want you to be mindful of, is, like, it's not the, what are all the things he can do? It's at this moment, what can't he do? Because if I pull a nade right here, you can do whatever the fuck you want to me besides dash shield because I'm facing you so I can grab you. That's it.
Right.
And it's like demystifying it so that it's not this daunting everything tool. It's a tool that is annoying and can accomplish a lot. It is uniquely a tool that applies physical pressure in a non-committal way because it can hit you and it can control space, but you have to be mindful of like respecting and playing around it, right? Rather than me jumping and putting out an aerial where I'm putting myself at risk. The nade does not put myself at risk. Does that make sense?
Yeah. First, I gotta. This is gonna be a slight little tangent.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Throwing the soapbox. I've studied, looked at this matchup
Yep.
for years. I've played Collateral, who's in Tennessee, he's a snake main.
Hmm.
I've done so much extensive work.
Yeah.
I swear to you, no one has ever told me that he can't air dodge when he's like landing with a
Oh,
grenade.
people love not telling people these things. And the problem with this is this. There's nothing in the game that indicates that. And so a lot of people just assume that you know that. And this is like a Smash problem. Is like, it's one of those little things where it's like, oh, of course he can't. And people just assume that everybody knows that. It is the most common thing that people don't know about him is that you can't air dodge during that at all. And it's because,
Yeah,
oh, Snake's a good character. Surely he'd be able to air dodge during it. Nope,
yeah.
can't. And it's just
I've
like,
like
it's so easy to miss stuff like that. And that's why, kind of to build off that tangent, one of the most important things you can ever do to help demystify a tool is to like go into training mode and try to understand how it functions. Not how to use it well, not how to do the combos, not how to do this stuff. This specific move, this tool, this mechanic, understand how it functions. What can and can't it do? Because that's how we demystify it. We make it not scary, we make it make sense. Does that make sense?
yeah, absolutely.
And this is really important. There are tools like this in the game that are harder to do that with. You know, when there's potentially RNG involved or there's a lot of agency involved with it. But something like Nade, where it heavily restricts what he can do, is really important. Something I'll suggest that you do. And like this kind of builds off like what I was saying, where it's like if he's just pulling that nade, it doesn't actually do anything. Now, there is somebody in this world who is very good versus this character. Do you know who that is?
Um, Mars,
That's one. Yep.
Nairo,
Yep.
Danny.
Yep. But do you know who has the best win rate on Snake in the world right now? Cosmos. With
Oh
all of
shit,
his characters. And this is
that's
a very good set that Esam re-uploaded of him against
the
Paulo Kage.
Apollo Kage Cosmos.
Yep.
Yeah, that set
Yep.
was dope.
And you know what Cosmos does when he plays against snakes who like to do a lot of things?
Just like back off and throw the grenades
He
back.
just looks at them. And he spends the time observing because the thing is, right, especially against a player like Apollo Kage, who's very quick. He likes to do his rotations and things like that. You can only do it so fast. And if you do it so quickly, there is a larger room for human error. You do too many things, you get one wrong B reverse, I get to smack you. I'm Mithra. I'm Inkling. I get to grab you. We ball. And it's not about just looking for the human error, but it's learning the tempo, the speed at which they do it, which rotations they like to do, and like observing that on the different stages. And when you rewatch this set later, I want you to realize the amount of times where he just stops and looks at him. Or if he sees Apollo Kage like doing a bunch of stuff and he's just like, I'm gonna just dash back and be like, can I bait you? Instead of, how do I challenge the impenetrable wall of Snake and jump on top? It's the bait. Remember I told you, like, the big Smash Bros, right? We don't listen to big Smash
Yeah.
Bros here.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do
yeah,
not
yeah.
have to jump on top of Snake because he's pulling a grenade. You don't have to do that. You don't have to catch every grenade and throw it back. What you need to do is to stop getting hit by nade and to stop getting hit by dash attack as much.
Yeah.
That first layer, the way we first fix it is, how do I get hit by it less? And so this is where the onus is on the, like, what should I stop doing that's causing me to get hit? And then we build on the what can and can't Snake do during these positions and these, like, rotations. Does that all make sense?
100%. Oh, this is great. Let's go.
I love teaching this matchup, especially as someone who plays this character. A big part of it is people just, you said it yourself, it's just like, it's losing patience and, like, getting frustrated and, like, overwhelming yourself. The Snakes who are the best, the most, like, example of this being, like, hurt, are the ones who pull one nade and look at you, and they're the scariest ones because that's where the ambiguity lies, right? But the ones who are pulling a bunch of things and doing a lot of stuff and pressing a lot of buttons, just look at them. You don't have to pick the bad fight. Pick the good fight. There's no reason for you to be like, all right, Snake, put him up. Like, you don't ever have to do that. You never have to do that, especially as Wolf. You don't have to do that. Because on top of it all, you have a reflector. And I think you have a really good idea of how to use your reflector, but it's like, when I cook the nade or when I mix up which nade I'm throwing at you, that's when you start to get overwhelmed, and then you're just like, this sucks. This isn't doing what I want. And it's like, yeah, just focus on not getting hit by it as much. That makes sense?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions?
It's something I need to practice, but it's probably not the biggest deal. I just want to, should I work on Z catching?
Absolutely. And that's something that you can just
Okay.
practice in training mode. It's a good thing to just
Okay.
have down. There are a lot of item characters, and catching different items is different with different characters. So make sure you're doing it on Wolf, and make sure you're practicing it on Grenade.
Okay.
Make sense?
But yeah, because it's just something I'm usually afraid of. Like,
Yeah.
I'll do it against the Diddy Kong because I'm like, okay, if
Yeah.
I miss this, I'm not gonna take
Yeah.
13.
The big thing is, like, you gotta be mindful of how cooked the nade is. That's what you have to be looking at.
That's fair.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
Don't pummel.
I keep forgetting about the pummel. It always takes me a minute. Oh, yeah, that was stupid.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. I was like, they don't think I can get there.
And see, it's like slowly building up that confidence to get like take those swings and like understanding
Yeah.
like I can hit that. That's the whole idea.
But Danny's so lucky.
Oh,
Oh, big smash, bros.
Big Smash Bros said no, you don't get to hit me.
Thank Jesus. Yeah, so good.
Good.
Yeah, I can see the greed whenever
Yep.
I want it because I'm like I choose to go and I'm like that. What you didn't have to do.
Yep. And that's the thing, is like the reason why it's so important to play this matchup this way too is because you're like, I got myself hit. I hit that grenade. I dashed there when I shouldn't have. Like, it's like, it makes it easier to actually recognize the mistakes you're making instead of just being in the perpetual scramble and taking a bunch of percent with Snake. The whole thing that this character does is just nickel and dime you really quickly. And it's the nades, it's him, it's his grabs. They all do 10+% every single time they touch you. And it's just like really taking your time to pick your fight so that you're not just like, oops, I'm at 80 and then you're off stage. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay. I was really scared that I thought that up air was gonna hit your nade, but you were holding
No,
it
I
back.
was in my hand, so it's really hard to hit it unless I drop it. And that's a random chance.
Yeah. That shit's so weird. Yeah. Okay, I'm starting to see it. Not like a pattern, but like how I should approach the situation.
Yes. Yes. Good.
That's why I hate to see it. Uh, I fed it for a back end.
There you go. Good.
Just that's fine. Oh, you got it though.
Yep. Yep. That's okay. Oh. You feel like you're in control now, yes?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Whenever you start doing a whole bunch with grenades, I kind of just blur you out
Mm-hmm.
and just say, just wait, just wait.
Yep.
It's not, this isn't the time. If I
Yep.
think you're gonna pull a grenade or you have it in hand, I'm just like, oh, I can hit you now.
Yep. It's just looking for the cue. That's it. Sitting there and analyzing it all and everything like that, you don't even need to do that. It's literally just
Yeah,
being like, can this grenade hit me? Let me not get hit by that. Are they
yeah,
trying, like, am I in range to get, like, dash tactical? Let me not get hit by that. It's just like, just start there.
yeah. And another thing that I was like learning during it, like I threw out a fair and then I tried to land an F tilt
Yep.
and you just dash attack you, and I was like, I should have just shielded because I usually know or have a feeling that like a button is gonna come my way, but I'm like, I can beat it.
Yep. And
Just
it's, you
dodge.
can't beat my dash tech.
Yeah, the arms are intangible. Why would they
Yep.
do that?
Funny Sakurai. He's just a funny guy, you know? He's just a funny guy. Yeah. He sure does like doing that. And the big thing, like, I want you to realize, like, there are a lot of characters like this, where it's like what you're doing that's really good too is like when you are playing in a scenario and you're like, ooh, I don't like this, you're resetting. Like, that's exactly it. You're not putting yourself and like maintaining the scramble, because that's what Snake wants. And there are so many characters like this where they just like trick you into like mashing with them and just getting blown up. And like, they're not always zoners. That's the thing. Like, that they're not always the projectile characters. Sometimes it's the heavies. Sometimes it's,
Yeah,
you know, a funny one who kind of does both is like King K. Rool. He does the exact same thing. It's all a bunch of fake stuff, and then he has moves that beat your moves, where he hits you really hard and he makes you feel really stupid, and then you get blown up. And even like uh what's another really good example of this actually? There are even some people who play characters like Captain Falcon and like Greninja like this, where it's just like
Yeah.
a bunch of misdirection, and then it's just like boom, I'm hitting you, like my hit confirms on you now. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
And I like that you like compared it to like Terry, where it's just like it's this like positional pressure that exists that's like can be daunting, but it's about like breaking the different tools down and demystifying them instead of letting yourself like be scared of it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or thoughts?
Thoughts are you're incredible. Thank you so much. This is great. And I understand like it's a very professional relationship. I enjoy having like a general rapport with like coaches because I don't know, just it feels nice. But I do appreciate this kind of simplification and uh sometimes you are uh very straightforward with it, which sometimes can hurt. I will not lie, but it's great because it sticks with me a lot. Like a lot of the sayings you say, they just stick in my mind, and I'm like, I have to think on it. So it
Good.
helps me really break down the pride or whatever ego there might be
Mm-hmm.
about how I thought about the game or how I thought something should work out.
Right. Awesome. Well, I'm happy to help. We've got about 15 minutes left. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or we could just run some games and just kind of go from there?
Uh, it was the next lesson because I was gonna do is talking about the general same thing, but not with Snake, just characters in general, like we'll say a Bowser or Samus, which funny enough,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like not great at that character. Against that character, it's like the Samus has to be really telegraphed
Mm.
for me to like understand it,
Okay.
and it just I can like I imagine everything, but sometimes I just get once again overwhelmed with
Yep.
when my time to swing is.
Right. So let's take what we learned, like the concept of how we like observe and like play that first layer, and try
Yeah.
do that here. Try to make sense of that. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
And it's like identify like this is the tool that is my problem and make that the priority to play around.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They get with it every time.
There you go.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, what are the problem moves that we've identified?
You smacked the hell out of me with Zero.
Yep. That's like the big
Um,
one is that you get like super psyched out, and whenever you get scared as there, what are you doing?
I shield, I
That's
think,
right.
or
Yep. You're preemptively shielding, which is causing you to like what is the byproduct of you shielding?
I get grabbed so much.
You get grabbed, you get stuck. Right? Is it you get stuck
Yes.
in place, you can't move. And if you remember
Hmm.
way back, what is one of the best things about Wolf? Like
His
as a
air.
character.
Oh yeah, just his drift
Yeah, his
and
mobility,
his movement.
his
Yeah.
movement, right? So when we get stuck in shield, like we lose that. We lose that ability to navigate around these different tools and like play out the pressure. And like this is exactly the thing that's hurting you. Is like you keep getting scared and shielding. And
Right.
once you get stuck in shield, that's when I'm like super duper mixing you and like I almost broke your shield like 4 times on that last stock. And it's just like that is being caused by you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I kind of want you to take in, and like what I want you to do as like homework is to like rewatch that and pick out the different moves, the Zair, the Nair, the charge shot, and demystify them. Understand how they function, and not look at like, oh my god, this is what's so good about it, but what's bad about it. What?
Yeah.
How does it actually work? Like one of the funny things is like a lot of times you deal with these mid-range issues. What button do you press?
Uh, Nair or sometimes I laser a lot.
Yo, laser. But why is laser bad in this matchup?
It's because I'm in usually more in leg than you are. If I miss, it's my ass.
But think about the
I'm committing to a
function, right?
spot.
Don't even think about that.
Yeah.
The function. What about our tools makes it not do what you want it to do?
Oh,
What button does it automatically lose to or trade negatively with?
oh, charge shot
That's right. Why?
because it's a stronger move. Well,
It's also what?
oh, laser's transcendent, so it's just gonna go through it.
Exactly. And it doesn't break it
Yeah,
because it's not a object.
right.
And like, this is what I mean. Don't analyze the issue. It's like this button loses in this scenario. You get to laser when I do what?
If I do an aerial or
Nope.
Zare,
Nope. There's a specific button that if I press it, you could laser me and it would be a positive interaction.
oh, is it down B?
That's one. But that's hard because usually they'll like jump and their hurt box shifts, right? The big
Right.
one is like side B if I do heavy side B, that being the hard
Ah,
missile,
okay.
right?
Yeah,
And like those scenarios like that where there's more end lag and it's a physical object that the transcendence will break and go through like that. Again, like this is what I want you to look at. I want you to look at the game. Don't look at the nuance. Be like a button v button. And it's not
yeah,
like what is laser beat versus everything, blah, blah, blah. But it's being aware that like picking an option like that is the reason you get hit. And then by you not being able to do it, it made you more scared because you didn't know what you could do there.
right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And so your homework is to demystify Samus's buttons. And like the big
Got it.
one, Zair. Next one, charge shot. The next one, Nair.
Uh-huh.
Those are your three. Because that's like the first layer is like charge shot Zair. And then next is Nair. And it's like there were times you'd get close, and then once you finally started figuring it out, I started nairing you, and you were like, shit. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
this is the hard part. Because again, Samus is kind of like has that like deceptively obnoxious way to like box with them. It's not as good as Snake by any means, but that doesn't mean that they have no buttons, right?
right.
And so like this is what I want you to look at is just like find where is the comfortable place? Where can I get better at navigating? How can I position around these tools? Like how do they work? And it's just like the first step is like watch some Samus VODs. Not only just them losing, but like understand the character more. Go into training mode and play around with Samus yourself and make sense of it. Realize how they have to move to Zaire, things like that. That's your homework. All
Got it.
right. Do
Yeah.
you have any other questions before we wrap up?
Um, no, not really.
Awesome. All right, well, let's recap. What did we learn today?
Um, don't overwhelm myself with all the options they can do. Uh, think just about the options. Well, let me rephrase.
Hmm.
Don't think that every opponent has every option available.
Yep.
They're actually more restricted than you think. Um, don't focus on the big smoke and mirrors of a character moving around. Wait for those. Wait for the fuck up. Even though it can take a long time, that's fine. There's 7 minutes on a clock. Um,
Hmm.
be more comfortable with being inside of spaces like a snake dash attack, especially like if there is a grenade in hand. Snake cannot air dodge when he's falling with a grenade. That I'm gonna say that like every night before I go to bed.
Every night before you go to bed, Snake cannot air dodge when holding a grenade.
Yeah. Um, and don't look at the sort of theoretical higher up, like top level intricacy of an interaction. It's really just simple. How do these two buttons interact? Um, and play around with characters I don't really know well.
Yeah. Yep. Learn how the characters function. Pick one move at a time. make sense of it so that it's not scary. Cool.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right, awesome.